From downtown Detroit, home of WDIV and Click on Detroit, Local 4 News at noon starts now.
Well, we've got a mild start to the afternoon. The local forecasters are tracking a return of humid temperatures ahead of the weekend. Plus, we have the latest on the coronavirus and efforts to get more people vaccinated. Moderna has released new data on the efficacy of its vaccine. But first, dozens are without a place to stay this afternoon after a fire rips through a Westland apartment complex. Thank you for joining us for Local 4 News at noon here on clickondetroit.com. I'm Evrod Cassimy. This was the scene earlier this morning where crews were working to put out this massive apartment complex fire. It happened at the Westwood Village Apartments right near Joy and Hicks Roads. Local 4's Nick Monticelli has more, and thankfully no one was hurt, but there were 36 homes destroyed.
Good afternoon. Firefighters are going to be spending much of the day here today just checking and making sure there are no hot spots because they don't want any more damage, although it's not possible to have any more damage. This building and 2 others are destroyed. Now they're trying to figure out exactly how it started.
I heard a noise that sounded like a commercial vehicle was backing up. It just sounded like a beep.
It was hours after this fire started, and Angel still having a hard time processing what was happening.
And it wasn't until a little bit after I decided to get out of bed because I was in a deep sleep, and I got up to see because I saw a red flashing lights, and I looked out the window and there's a firefighter telling me to come down.
Fortunately, she woke up from a deep sleep and found this. Others like Dan Sneed were still awake.
We banged on doors. Me and my son ran through, banging on doors, making sure everyone was out.
The fire at the Westwood Village Apartments started before midnight. 3 buildings with 36 units are destroyed. It took Westland firefighters more than 9 hours to fight back the flames because these apartments were built in the 70s. When codes did not require much fire protection.
It's impossible to stop, yes, sir. Yeah, we've had issues with this complex before.
That other issue was in May 2018, another fire destroying 24 apartments. Firefighters say today's fire started on the roof, and a roofing company was installing these insulation panels, which involves melting rubber. Investigators will be checking to see if the two are related.
All of this stuff is material, so long as you're alive, there's another day to rebuild all of that, but it's going to be rough. It's a pandemic and a lot of people don't have nowhere to go.
The other good news to pass along, besides nobody being hurt, is it's possible some valuables on the first floor might be able to be saved. Residents will be able to go and check on that sometime in the near future. Unfortunately, everything on the second floor is destroyed, and of course, all 3 buildings destroyed as well. We're in Westland. Nick Monticelli, Local 4.
All right, thank you, Nick. A stretch of I-94 near Taylor is back open this afternoon after a crash. It happened this morning in the westbound lanes of the freeway, right in between Telegraph Road and the Southfield Freeway. I-94 was shut down while police investigated what led up to this crash, and right now we're working to get more information on if anybody was hurt. Moderna says that its COVID-19 vaccine remains highly effective for at least 6 months. The company says a final analysis of its phase 3 study showed a 93% efficacy 6 months after the second dose. However, the company says a booster will likely be necessary before the winter season because it expects neutralizing antibody levels will continue to wane. Also, Moderna says a phase 2 study showed that a booster shot using 3 different candidates produced a robust antibody response against numerous variants of concern, including Delta. The company expects to complete its submission process for full approval of its vaccine to the FDA sometime this month. The Biden administration is taking steps now to make sure foreign visitors are fully vaccinated. It's the latest effort to try and fight COVID-19, which is suddenly claiming more children as victims. Tracy Potts is in Washington now with the very latest.
Remember, the kids, the youngest ones, are vulnerable because there's no vaccine for them yet. But there is for adults. And now the Biden administration is looking at making sure that people who come into this country from other nations have that shot. Protecting America's borders, the White House is working on a plan to require nearly all foreign visitors to show proof of vaccination to enter the U.S. once travel restrictions ease. We can learn more when the COVID response team gives an update today. Pediatricians report 70,000 new infections just last week.
That is the absolute scary part, is how fast it happened.
I hope that will motivate more parents to obtain vaccine.
The FDA may grant final approval to Pfizer's vaccine by early September.
Moving towards full approval will dramatically increase vaccine rates amongst the unvaccinated.
But the agency still says there's no data to support the need for a third booster shot.
We wanted to make sure that from a safety perspective that there aren't any additional side effects.
90 million Americans remain unvaccinated. In Florida, the governor calls an increase in cases all hype. He's banned mask mandates and warns the federal government to back off.
If you're coming after the rights of parents in Florida, I'm standing in your way. I'm not going to let you get away with it.
Florida lawmakers will hold a news conference today urging Florida to take action. New York and Los Angeles are thinking about requiring people to have at least one shot of the vaccine to enter public places. But doctors say just one shot won't make much of a difference. I'm Tracy Potts.
All right, thank you, Tracy. Here at home now, a Detroit court says the CDC's ban on evictions does apply to Detroit and Wayne County. The 36th District Court says that the CDC reclassified Wayne County as an area where there's substantial COVID spread, and as a result, evictions will not happen. The CDC order lasts until October 3rd. The CDC's reclassification also means counties, including Wayne, Washtenaw, and Monroe, now fall under the agency's recommendation for everyone to wear masks indoors. And the state health department recommends indoor mask wearing and social distancing for all students and staff this fall. In other news this afternoon, Spirit Airlines passengers are facing a fifth straight day of widespread cancellations. The airline has already canceled more than 400 flights today, nearly half of its Thursday schedule. And according to FlightAware, 80% of cancellations in the U.S. came from Spirit. The airline has canceled more than 1,700 flights since Sunday. They blame the problems on a combination of issues, including bad weather, staffing shortages, and technology outages. New at noon, U.S. Secretary of Energy and former Michigan Governor Jennifer Granholm is making several stops across Michigan today. Her visit comes ahead of an announcement by the White House, which will set a new national target to make half of new vehicles sold in 2030 zero-emission and electric vehicles. This morning, the secretaries toured the Magna Electronics factory in Holly with Congresswoman Alyssa Slotkin. She also held a roundtable with Congresswoman Haley Stevens and Oakland University's Engineering Center in Rochester.
It also means investment in the electric grid, which is important. If we electrify all of those vehicles and add all the charging stations that we know are necessary to be able to get people to drive electric vehicles, that means we have to add capacity and resilience to the electric grid.
This afternoon, the secretary is going to be stopping in Auburn Hills and will meet with Congresswoman Rashida Tlaib and Debbie Dingell. Also at noon, for the first time in history, Air Force aircraft intentionally landed on a civilian roadway in the U.S., and those up north got a front row seat for it all. A portion of M32 right near the Alpena Combat Readiness Training Center was closed as 4 A-10 aircrafts and 2 C-146 aircrafts landed. The operation, called Exercise Northern Strike, was to test the Michigan Air National Guard's ability to land aircraft on roads designed for cars and trucks. Let's get you updated on your forecast here on your Thursday, or Friday Eve as we like to call it. Meteorologist Brandon Roos standing by. Beautiful shot behind you.
Great looking shot here, and we often, especially around the fireworks, will get some beautiful planes flying by. Maybe not the, are they called the Warthogs, the A-10s, the attack planes? Beautiful plane, though. Really cool stuff. And whatever you got going on today, we are looking good. There's a little bit of a haze in the sky, so you get the sense that maybe there's just a little more humidity. Really not that bad. Very light winds, 80 around all 4 zones right now. On our way to 85. Really, any day in the summer where you're getting heat and a lot of sun, you can't rule out an isolated pop-up, but I think we see next to none. 64 degrees overnight tonight into your finally Friday. Middle 80s once again. It would be warmer, but we've got a little increase, especially in the afternoon in high clouds. Dry day, showers through the late afternoon, early evening. Possible tomorrow, and then it's mainly Saturday morning shower chances. Sunday, the heat and humidity are on. I mean, we're talking triple-digit heat indices possible by Sunday and beyond, and that gets us into that more Florida pattern where it's afternoon pop-ups, heat and humidity raging through the area. Right now, boy, it looks good. Not seeing a whole lot of nothing, but we do have this big trough, this big dip here that we're seeing in the jet stream, and this has been the reason why we can't rule out an isolated shower or two. It's just a little unsettled pattern here on the jet stream, and as we look at the next couple of days, looking good. Friday, early Saturday, there's just this little brief disturbance according to our jet stream forecast. But watch, next week, jet stream goes way back north and we'll be riding north for several days. And what that really tells us is a lot of warm air from the deep south will be allowed to just set up shop here. We're looking at triple-digit heat indices again Sunday into next week and beyond. It's going to be a really, really warm weekend and next week for sure. Pop-ups, one or two out there today. Tomorrow, again, we notice the increase in clouds and then shower and storm chances after 7 p.m., especially west zone and north zone into Saturday morning. And again, with any sunshine with us Saturday afternoon, we could be near 90 once again, but the heat is on. Really, all of next week, we'll just keep those afternoon Florida pop-ups in play, but it's that summer heat, Evrod. Everybody's going to get it.
Oh, well, finally. All right. Brandon, thank you. All right, so Team USA picking up steam in the Olympic Games last night with more gold on the horizon. Women's soccer bounces back for bronze, while men's basketball and beach volleyball are on the road to gold. Here's Kurt Gregory with the latest from Tokyo.